Hey guys, what's up? This is Ben with Lucid Travel here, and I just spoke with a really interesting guy who develops software, has been doing it for a long time, product leader, an expert within this Agile lean framework here for development. So I figured I'd do a quick video of what we kind of learned with it, and maybe it could help you. Maybe you're new with this, or maybe you're a small company like us that is just trying to get under or better development, more efficient. All these things are interesting, so I figured I'd share it. Also, our team maybe could see it. So I want to just discuss a little bit about what I learned and see if it makes sense to you guys and see if it is valuable. So the way I do it right now is there's not very much of a rhyme or reason. You pretty much just put a bunch of features and things you want to the website, and then you knock them out one by one. We try to prioritize them and manage them to some degree, but it's pretty much just go at it. So instead, what I'm trying to do is figure out, how do I better prioritize? How do I better manage? How do I better communicate? So in terms of this framework, the first thing to think about is, let's say that you need any website or any person that has a technology product software out there. All that development is small little features and enhancements over a period of time. And we break those into versions, and you can batch those into smaller and smaller batches, however you manage it, right? So a new feature or a new enhancement to the site is called a story. So in a story, there's three things you need to define with this. So they're pretty basic. The first thing is the role. So this is who it's intended for. Who is it intended for? Is it for the tournament directors out there that manage 10 plus events? Is it for a team with 15 players who travel 4 times a year? Is it whatever that might be? Who is this feature for? Who is the end user that's actually going to be gaining from this, right? Second thing is, what's the actual feature? So this is like the technical part that everyone understands. This is what it actually is that you're building. What needs to be made? How is it done? What needs to be made / developed, right? And the last thing is the business case. Why do we need this? Why does the business need it? Is it going to increase customer conversion? Is it going to help us hit our metric in terms of value per client? Is it going to increase the LTV? Is it going to decrease churn? What is the metric and way that we can think about this in business terms? Because everything we need to be doing and focusing, especially in a startup, is what is the exact best thing to do at this given moment. So that's kind of the way to think about these new tasks, to make sure to find that role, what the feature is, and what the business case is as to why this feature is required at this moment. So I'll erase that. The next thing is, how do we actually manage this in a pipeline way? Where does it start? What's the next stage, next stage, next stage? How do you manage that? How do you see it visually? We use Asana for this, so it's a project management tool. It's free the way that we're doing it. Really simple. We just create columns, and then we can put these new stories in that we can then manage. So the way that we do this right now is we put new tasks into the first column, which is to do, right? That is, this is ready for development. This is needed right now. The next is in progress. This means development team, someone on the development team has taken this from here to here, and they're putting this into progress. The next is, you can actually, this is kind of up to you, but you can call it stuck or on hold. So then you have a column that's for stuck. So if they're in here and they start to work on it, then there's something that's impeding them. We call that stuck. The next would be QA. And then this mic's in the way. Let's drop this down a little bit. And the next would be done. And the main thing with this, really with all the tasks, is we need to have definition of done. So you need to define what the done really means. Does that mean it's uploaded to the server, it's live? Does that mean that it's been QA checked and that it had a second review? What exactly does done mean? Definition, define that so that everyone on your team knows what these different categories is. As you build out your process, you might start to add new things in here. We're starting to kind of break these up into finer parts as we see ways to differentiate between the tasks. But the idea is you put these different stories in these sections and they move through this like a pipeline, right? Just like a sales process. So many salespeople out there, you know that you front load this area and then you work them through the different steps to get them to be a customer. So it's the same thing with this. Put new tasks that are prospective, have not been done yet, or just an idea. They become in progress. They get past being stuck or on hold. Then they're completed but need to be tested. Then they're launched, right? So define what these are, stick to them, and try to improve the velocity at which you can get through this process. So that's what that does. Now, the next thing is really interesting, and it's a way, so the next question is, okay, you got all these new tasks. Now we learned that you need to define the role, you need to define the feature and the business case with each of those features, or what we call stories, right? The next piece is, how do you quantify the priority and value of each of these tasks? So this is a very interesting principle. You essentially put a number to each of two things: effort and then business value. So let's say, just for simplicity, we're calling 8 hours of effort. That's equal to 1 point. So that's how we define effort is, okay, if this task takes 8 hours to do, it's 1 point on our scale. The business value is, let's just say you rank it in terms of how it's actually going to affect the business. And this is where you have to kind of start to understand your metrics and what the real goals are of the business. But we just put it on a scale of, for simplicity, let's just say it's 1 to 100, right? It doesn't matter as long as you keep the scale the same. So let's say we do a scale of 1 to 100. And this is in terms of how valuable is it to the business. So then all that you do here is you do business value divided by effort equals R. And R, let's get this up. Things in the way again. Okay. Every story within your pipeline should have an R value associated. That allows you to quantify, and you do everything in order of R. Prioritize it by R. You can put it in an Excel spreadsheet when you're first just writing down tasks, and then sort by value of R. Highest on top, down. This really helps you make sure that you're getting the best of you're essentially putting the best foot forward in terms of what should be done, what timing, all those kind of components, so that we can increase our throughput. So that's a good place to start. I think that's a little interesting component of it. In terms of, how do you think about features? We call them stories. How do we define that pipeline process from to do all the way to complete? What are those steps, and how do you move the task in there most efficiently? And then into how we actually prioritize each of these tasks in a quantifiable way, so that anyone can arrive at the same thing and everyone in the business is aligned on what optimizing are in terms of what we're doing for these tasks. So I hope you liked it. Feel free to subscribe, check out our website. It's called lucidtravel.us. We're pretty new at this, but I figured, like I said, I'll start sharing it. Maybe some other people might find it interesting, and we can all learn together. Thanks.